If you want to know what's been happening here at home and across the world, well, you're tuned in to the correct channel. That's right, this is Newsfirst coming to you live from Colombo with primetime news. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. Here's a look at your headlines tonight. Chief incumbent of the Kiriwehera airlifted to Colombo with gunshot wounds. Police claim to have identified the suspects. Norochole power plant still does not have an environmental license. Calls for a presidential commission of inquiry to investigate corruption surrounding coal deals. Complaints filed at the TRC to immediately halt all illegal cable television transmissions. Chief incumbent of the Kiriwehera Rajamaha Viharya in Kathragama, Venerable Kobavaka Dammindathera, who was injured in a shooting, was airlifted to Colombo for further treatment. The police stated that the attackers have been identified and the motive for the shooting has been uncovered. However, the suspects are yet to be taken into custody 24 hours since the incident. Venerable Kobavaka Dammindathera, the chief incumbent of the Kiriwehera Rajamaha Viharya, was shot at around 10:45 last night. The shooting occurred when the Venerable Thero and another monk had made their way to the entrance of the temple after engaging in religious observances. According to the police, the shots were fired from a distance of at least 30 yards and had targeted the Venerable Kobavaka Dammindathera when he was standing at the steps of the entrance. The injured chief incumbent of the Kiriwehera was first rushed to the Debaravava Hospital and thereafter admitted to the Hambantota General Hospital. He had been receiving treatment at the intensive care unit and was airlifted today to a private hospital in Colombo for further treatment. Director of the Hambantota General Hospital, Dr. Danushka Pereira, said that the other monk who was injured in the incident was not in a critical condition. Police investigations have revealed that 3 persons wearing face masks had arrived in a red-coloured jeep and opened fire at the priests. According to the police, this was confirmed by the police officers who were providing protection to the priests at the steps of the Kiriwehera. Although the officers had given chase to the suspects, they were unable to make any arrests. They had recorded the number plate of the jeep and had provided the information to the police. The police had found the jeep at a house located on the banks of the Manik Ganga, which is located behind the temple. The police had confirmed that the jeep belonged to the former caretaker, locally known as the Kapu Mahatya of the Mahasen Devalaya of the Kiriwehera. Further investigations uncovered that the shooting was carried out by the Kapu Mahatya, who served at the Mahasen Devalaya a year ago, and 2 accomplices. A senior police officer in charge of the area stated that upon being appointed to the position of chief incumbent of the Kiriwehera in 2014, the Venerable Kobavaka Dammindathera had problems with the Kapu Mahatya over the ownership of the Mahasen Devalaya in Kathragama. The ownership of the Mahasen Devalaya was handed over to the Kiriwehera nearly a year ago following a court order, and a new Kapu Mahatya was appointed.
It was a very critical time for the chief incumbent. There were issues and he took certain bold decisions. I believe this shooting is a result of the bold decisions he took. The police is conducting investigations.
It is yet to be ascertained from which direction the perpetrators had arrived to carry out the shooting. There are several routes for vehicles to enter the Kiriwehera premises. The main routes are via the Sella Kathragama Kiriwehera Road and the Kiriwehera Mawata. Although a main police post is located on the Sella Kathragama Road, there is no trace of the vehicle used for the shooting having passed the police post. However, the group had fled in the jeep to the Gothamigama area, which is located behind the Kiriwehera, immediately after the shooting. The jeep, which had travelled via Gothamigama to Gaminipura, had then reached the owner's house on the banks of the Manik Ganga. When Newsfirst made inquiries from senior police officers in the area, they noted that information is being uncovered and investigations are ongoing. According to our correspondent, the acting magistrate of Tissa Maharama, attorney at law P.W.K. Premachandra, had arrived at the crime scene and conducted investigations. The police has been interrogating the 3 suspects, including the Kapu Mahatya. Questions were raised at the Cabinet media briefing today on the delay in receiving the final tranche for the Hambantota port since being leased to a Chinese company.
Minister, this Hambantota port, the last tranche of 585 million US dollars should be received to government by it should have been received last week, but it had not received so far.
That is because certain decisions were not taken. Yesterday the cabinet decided on those things.
About what?
Yesterday what we have agreed in this one to be implemented about about the lands and other matters.
When you say lands, can you elaborate on the?
I think about the land for this one, free trade zone lands, to set up this one's what is that industries.
So
certain lands had been allocated, earmarked and allocated.
Were there any truth to that artificial land which is in the Hambantota port is at a dispute that is dragging the payment?
No, it is not the artificial. That is how certain people think about this. No.
Have you resolved this artificial land dispute in the artificial island dispute in the Hambantota?
Certain things have been sorted out. There are some more things to be sorted out.
What are those?
Even we are speaking to the Chinese government, speaking to the Indian government, all those people.
What are the?
I can't tell the exact details, but about the three proposals, they are dealing with the two countries and going forward.
Well, those are the views expressed by the Cabinet core Cabinet spokesperson, Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, concerning the Hambantota port and the alleged artificial land. Let's take a look. Now, we all know that the Hambantota port not too long ago was leased out to a Chinese company for a period of 99 years. Now, having said that, let's take a look at the geographical nature of the Hambantota port region on Google Maps. Now, if you look at plain sight, this is the Hambantota region. The Hambantota port, the harbour region, as shown on Google Maps. But if you take a look at satellite images, not just today, there is a new addition to the Hambantota port region. Now, this is what we assume or believe to be this particular artificial land, which journalists and the cabinet spokesman is speaking so much about. So the question is, let's go back once again. This is a Google Maps picture of the Hambantota port region, and satellite images shows a new addition, which is believed to be the artificial land or the man-made land. Now the question is this the so-called artificial land that is at the epicenter of the Sri Lankan government's attempts to get the final tranche due for this for the Hambantota port? Second question is this the demand, and is this the land that China is demanding from Sri Lanka for the purpose of having an entertainment facility before releasing that final tranche? Well, these are the questions we pose to the general public. And economists say that Sri Lanka badly needs this final tranche of 585 million US dollars to cover the state coffers in Sri Lanka and reboost the country's foreign reserves. Having said that, it's back to the main news studio. Mahina, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Shaheen. Moving on to more local news. The joint opposition convening a media briefing today commented on crime reported in the country. At the same time, explanations were provided at the cabinet media briefing as well.
An attempt was made on the life of the chief incumbent of the Kirivehera temple. It shows there is a dangerous armed terror process in place. The Dehiwala Mount Lavinia urban councillor was gunned down. The deputy chairman of Karandenia was also gunned down. The government must be held accountable. The IGP and the AG were never appointed following a vote in the history of this country. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution has caused chaos in the country. The government must be held accountable for this. The government is struggling to survive.
එමතුමා අපි දකිනවා දැන් පාතාල ක්‍රියාකාරකම් තාමත් මර්ධනය කරගන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා ආණ්ඩුවට. දැන් මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක්ගේ ඝාතනයක් දක්වා එනකන්ද බලාගෙන ඉන්නේ.
Under the previous regime, people were abducted and yet they could not be done with it. Yesterday, more than 17,000 police officers were involved in an island-wide operation and made a large number of arrests. There is a continuation of underworld-linked drugs and other activity.
කරා පොලිසිය 17,000 ගාණක් දවද සම්බන්ධ වෙලා පොලිස් නිලධාරීන්
පිටරට ඉඳන් මෙහෙ මිනිමරුම් සිද්ධ කරනවා. මේ තරම් දුරට මේක උඩුදිව්වේ මොකද එමතුමා මේක මේවට සම්බන්ධ දේශපාලඥයෝ හරි ආණ්ඩුවට හිතයිසීම කණ්ඩායම් ඉන්නවද මොවුන් මේ විදිහට ආරක්ෂා කරගන්න?
ඒකට සම්බන්ධ
There are no politicians who are involved. We have new politicians, but these acts continue.
අර ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයා කාලේ කරේ විදිහට ආයුධ බලන්න එක්කන් යනවා බැරිද ඔය කට්ටිය?
That was not a success.
Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara expressed the following views after declaring open a new police station in Mattegoda.
These two mobile phones are open to all citizens of the country. 0718 591 002, 0717 582222. The general public established their trust on us when I, as the IGP, and everyone else who are working under me act in this manner. Our first priority will be the trust the general public has on us. We commit ourselves to prevent and resolve crimes in the country. They are afraid now. They hide themselves and surrender themselves. The chief incumbent of the Kirivihara Rajamahaviharaya was shot last night due to a personal issue. Within a few hours, we have found certain things and done what's needed. But I can't reveal the details right now. Why? Because this is an investigation.
Convening a media briefing today, Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Patali Champika Ranawaka made a revelation on the Norotchole coal power plant.
I was the first to make a scientific analysis on the procurement process of coal in this country and other factors concerning it. In 2014, they made a charade that a satellite was launched in Sri Lanka. There is also a case against a company linked with this called Torian. They are also linked to this issue of bringing down coal. I was the one who initially exposed this in a scientific manner. Just like the central bank bond scam, there have been numerous fraud and irregularities during the process of bringing down coal. There are a large number of people who benefited out of this. This has caused the 20 million people of this country to suffer through their electricity bills. So, I openly request His Excellency the President to immediately establish a Presidential Commission of Inquiry with special powers regarding coal as well. I have all the documents required with me. I am ready and willing to present these facts before the Presidential Commission.
The President has instructed that a proposal to develop the 13 islands in Kalpitia be presented to Cabinet as soon as possible. The President made the statement at the Grama Shakti Northwestern Province Steering Committee meeting this morning.
The meeting took place at the Mercy Education Centre in Madurankulia, Putlam. The progress and the future plans of the Grama Shakti Northwestern Province Steering Committee was extensively discussed with the participation of the local politicians and public servants.
The Norotchole coal plant creates a mountain of ash. At present, we have this power plant. As the Minister and Secretary of Power and Energy are here, I wish to state the ash spreads across many areas with the winds causing issues to the people. The cultivations have been destroyed. We were promised that steps will be taken. However, no action has been taken. There is a program in place. The villages surrounding this plant are being brought together with the environmental organizations. There is a case in court. We are having a meeting at the ministry tomorrow, and so far 25 programs have been implemented. We have taken measures to remove ash from across an area of 100,000 square meters. We are doing everything that is possible. We believe the issue will be solved in 2 months.
So මේ සම්බන්ධ අපි සාකච්ඡාවක් හෙට හවස දෙකට අමාත්‍යාංශයේ යොදා ගන්න සාකච්ඡා කළා ලේකම්තුමාට.
ඒක ගැටලුව කළා කියන්නේ මේ පරස අධිකාරී
The issue is the CEA has not given a license. Without this, it will be a serious issue. Conditions need to be put forward. If not, the plant cannot operate. The plant was operating without a license for several months. We have proposed to remove the conditions and they can be met in 6 months. I spoke with the Secretary and the Director of Environment. We will issue the permit with conditions following talks tomorrow afternoon.
One person died and more than 30 people were injured following an accident that took place on the Alawa-Kurunegala main road. Police said a head-on collision between two buses, one operating from Colombo to Galneva and the other from Kanduruvela to Colombo, was the cause of the accident. The injured were rushed to the Alawa and Kurunegala hospitals. A hospital spokesperson said around 30 people are being treated at the Alawa hospital. 17 people in serious condition were transferred to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. Now, serious anomalies in the exact debt position of the country has come to light with the release of the Central Bank Annual Report and the Ministry of Finance Annual Report.
The 2017 Central Bank Annual Report indicates that the debt to GDP ratio stands at 77%. However, the Ministry of Finance Annual Report carries a statement from the Auditor General that states the actual debt position is not as stated. The Auditor General states that the total debt is 10,702 billion and not 10,313 billion rupees as stated by the Ministry of Finance. The Auditor General states that the debt to GDP ratio is 81%. The difference in rupee terms is 389 billion or about 2.5 billion US dollars.
That's a bit worrying, especially when the Auditor General is talking about the Ministry of Finance account.
Yeah, but the Auditor General is talking about accounts for us. It's not talking about concealment. I think that's the difference.
Okay.
And I think that there are definitional changes that are being recommended, and I think that, as I said, the Auditor General's view prevails.
The Airlines Pilots Guild of Sri Lanka testified before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry and raised serious concern over CEO Captain Suren Ratwatta.
Captain Ruan Vitanage, providing evidence before the Commission on the national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines, said most of the chairman and board of directors were appointed based on family relationships and political affiliations, mainly between 2008 and 2015. He went on to say following the appointment of Captain Suren Ratwatta to the post of CEO, there were conflicts between him and the Pilots Guild. He said the guild in fact questioned whether appointments of Ratwatta was done in the best interest of Sri Lankan Airlines, considering the dire situation the airline was in financially. He testified that Suren Ratwatta was not conversant with the issues put to him and did not understand the serious nature of pilot fatigue. Captain Vitanage said Ratwatta's qualifications were questionable given that Sri Lankan Airlines is running at a colossal loss. He went on to state there were conflicts with the head of human resources for the past 10 years at the airline over his decisions. Captain Vitanage said 7,000 employees for an airline like Sri Lankan was too high and the decision makers must be accountable for the situation.
Presidential Commission of Inquiry has instructed detectives to inquire whether the Board of Investment was under any influence not to take action on Mihin Lanka Private Limited for not complying with terms of agreement.
The investment director of the Board of Investment testified even though Mihin Lanka was informed continuously about the breach of terms on tax concessions, until Mihin Lanka ceased operations, they had never responded back to the BOI. The Commission was concerned why the Operations Department and the Supervisory Department at the BOI had not taken action regarding the failure of Mihin Lanka Private Limited. It also came to light the BOI had given Mihin Lanka tax concessions to the total of 385.314 million rupees from 2012 to 2018. These include import duty, nation building tax, VAT, production tax, cess and port and airport tax. Mihin Lanka Private Limited had imported 40 million rupees worth of goods under the premise of using them after importing and returning back to the supplier. These goods were imported with tax concessions. Moreover, Sri Lankan Airlines enjoyed 254 billion rupees as tax concessions from the BOI from 2012 to 2015 and another 307 billion rupees as tax concessions from 2015 to 2018 to import goods and material to the country. Sri Lankan Catering Limited was given a total of 5 billion rupees as tax concessions from 2012 to 2018.
On News First last night, we exposed that CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, Suren Ratwatta, who caused the national carrier to incur losses to the tune of billions within just 3 years, had put forward a series of conditions to take an early retirement. Here's a more in-depth look into that expose. After the government was elected in 2015, Suren Ratwatta, the brother of Charita Ratwatta, who is the senior advisor to the Prime Minister, was appointed as the CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines. When he was appointed, several agreements were reached, and among them were that he be paid a salary of 3 million rupees per month. The airlines must pay the taxes for the salary, and another 10 million rupee benefit needs to be provided. As there was no common agreement within the board of directors, Suren Ratwatta was appointed for a probationary period of 6 months, and a board paper issued thereafter recommended that his services be reviewed after the probationary period. The board paper also states that the chairman of the airline and the board directors must carry out separate reviews. Ratwatta's 6-month probation period was to end on the 15th of April 2016. However, the Ministry of Public Enterprise Development had proposed Ratwatta be given another 6-month extension to his service. The view of some members in the board of directors was that Suren Ratwatta's service was not efficient and it needed to be suspended. This is reported in the board minutes as well. However, later the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines was summoned to Temple Trees and Suren Ratwatta's service was made permanent. He was appointed as CEO at the age of 52. And in 3 years, he caused the national airlines to suffer losses to the tune of billions. And now, when taking an early retirement, Suren Ratwatta has put forward a series of proposals. In a letter to the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines, Ranjit Fernando, Ratwatta says he is eligible for employment until April 2022, and since he is taking an early retirement, he requests a payment equivalent to 6 months' salary without tax. He also notes his last official duty would be the One World IATA conference in Sydney, Australia, from the 1st to the 6th of June, allowing him to part company with his peers, and notes from June 7, 2018 onwards, he will be on annual leave. Ratwatta, who is requesting for a payment equivalent to 6 months' salary, says the income tax will be the responsibility of Sri Lankan Airlines, as he will no longer be a resident of Sri Lanka from the 1st of June. He noted all final payments must be remitted in Australian dollars to his offshore accounts. As additional benefits, he requests 6 return confirmed business class tickets to be used at his discretion on Sri Lankan Airlines sectors, valid for 1 year, and reparation ticket for his wife to accompany him to Australia. Speaking to Newsfirst, chairman of the airline, Ranjit Fernando, said it is important to discuss the agreement the airline has reached with Ratwatta and not his requests. Ratwatta will continue to function as CEO until a successor is located.
The recently appointed chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines has made an announcement to the staff. The most important decision made by the heads and director board of an institution is to appoint a proper CEO. This announcement accepts the appointment of this CEO by the government was a wrong decision. In the past, the loss was 12 billion rupees and it was increased to 28 billion. Who is responsible for that? If the CEO is seeking compensation, it is not justifiable. During his tenure, the national carrier did not proceed under a proper path.
Yesterday, we sought your views on how much Suren Ratwatta was seeking. A majority said he was seeking 18 million rupees. When taking into account the agreed terms of appointment for a 3 million rupee monthly salary, the sum for 6 months would be equal to 18 million rupees. However, if you calculate the tax, air tickets and other benefits, the sum would be even more higher. In 2015, when Ratwatta was appointed as CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, the carrier suffered a loss of 16.3 billion rupees. And in 2016, the loss was 12 billion rupees. In 2017, the loss increased to 28.5 billion rupees. What if the sum sought by Suren Ratwatta to seek early retirement was used for the public benefit? Imagine the number of houses that can be built. How many can be provided with clean drinking water, especially in villages that are affected by chronic kidney disease? How many cancer patients could be provided with proper treatment and care? In one of our headline-making stories this evening, the National Movement of Web Journalists have requested the TRC to conduct a proper inquiry over illegal cable TV channels and institute appropriate action.
A document detailing institutions that operate illegal cable TV channels, addresses and contact numbers were handed over to the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission by the National Movement of Web Journalists. According to the data, there are 18 illegal cable TV operators in the Jaffna district, 4 in the Trincomalee district, 2 in the Ampara district and another 13 service centers in the Hill country. We request that action be taken against these cable TV operators in the north and east who threaten national security and have neglected paying taxes. We have made this request from the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission. The TRC promised to expedite its actions. In the recent days, News First exposed the loss of life caused by these illegal cable TV operations in the Jaffna district, while 4 more were reported dead in Vadamarachi North.
Views expressed during a meeting between the outgoing United States Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Atul Keshap, and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa have sparked a massive discussion in the country.
Over the past few days, several print media and news websites had reported that the outgoing United States ambassador had warned former President Mahinda Rajapaksa against fielding former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa as a candidate for the presidential election. The Island newspaper reported today that outgoing US Ambassador Atul Keshap has told former President Mahinda Rajapaksa that his brother Gotabaya was very unpopular. The report was published quoting a spokesperson for the former president's office. Issuing a release to the media today, the former president's media division said it has not released an official statement regarding the meeting with the US ambassador. The former president's media division says, therefore, it will not take responsibility for these news reports.
US ambassador කියලා තියෙනවා ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාට 2020 දී මොනම හේතුවක් නිසාවත් ජනපති පදවිය ලැබෙන්න ඉඩ සලස්සන්නේ නැහැ කියලා ඒක වළක්වනවා කියලා. එහෙම කියන්න පුළුවන්ද මත?
Mahinda Rajapaksa.
It has been denied that Mahinda Rajapaksa had spoken of such a thing. It had been reported in the Daily Mirror, your newspaper.
Daily Mirror පත්තරේ ඔබතුමාගේ පත්තරේ.
මේ ජයරාජ් නේ කියන්නේ මතුවා.
Are we to believe him just because he said it?
නෑ ජයරාජ් දැන් ජයරාජ් කැනඩාවේ ඉන්න ජයරාජ්ට කවුරු හරි කියන්න එපා මෙහෙම තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා.
It must have been someone from this side. Atul Keshap won't tell him, would he?
මේක සිද්ධ වුණොත් එමතුමාලා ඔබතුමාලා රජේ ඔබතුමන් හරි සහ රජේ මොකද්ද රියැක්ෂන් එක මොකද්ද මේ
මොන හරි රියැක්ෂන් එක?
He's an American citizen. He is bound by the American law, not ours.
ඉතින් තමයි යටත් වෙන්නේ. අපේ නීතියට.
Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at the News First English News Desk. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care and good night.